Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the MakeCode Arcade Advanced stream. I'm Richard, at Richard on the MakeCode Forum.
I'm Joe at J1 on the MakeCode Forum.
I'm Sarah at Sarah on the MakeCode Forum.
And I'm Thomas at Sparks on the MakeCode Forum.
And today we are doing a classic Friday stream, which means we're not doing much of anything. Sorry we're starting late also. I was just telling these folks that I managed to trip the circuit breaker in my apartment, which meant that my computer both turned off and also I had to wait for my internet to come back online for the router to, reboot and all that stuff. So fun time all around. Anyway, so we're not going to be doing anything. We're just going to be kind of messing around today. One thing I do want to show off and that we're going to work with first is I've spent the last couple of days redoing a lot of the platformer extension. So you may recall that we made this on stream a long time ago. We made this platformer extension that you could use to get like nice platformer mechanics. It's even in a Microsoft repo. It's Microsoft/arcade platformer. And we got it to where it was like mostly working, and a lot of people on the forum use it, but we never got to really polish it up. And so I did that over the past few days. And a lot of the features that were not there are now there. So I have not published it yet, so you can't use it just yet. I still have some testing to do. I still have to do some merging and stuff like that. But we're going to go ahead and load in my test repo, which has the all of my changes. So we're going to go ahead and do Ricknell/arcade platformer test. Load this up here. Okay. So in order to test this out, well, we have a little test program, actually, that if I just click play on this, we'll be able to see. There we go. Okay. So what's different? Well, I took a lot of, like I said, polishing of the mechanics that were already there. So things like wall jumping now works way better than it did before. So if you're used to using, actually, I think I should maybe just pull up the old one as like a point of comparison. Let's do that. So real quick, we're just going to make a little test thing in, not Ricknell. I want Microsoft/arcade platform.
Is Richard?
Oh, you're back. You froze for a bit, Richard.
Okay, how long? What was the last thing you heard me say?
You were just
like
platform. Yeah.
All right. Cool. I think my internet is possibly still, figuring things out. Okay, so we're just going to create a real quick test program in here that we can use as a point of comparison between this and the old version. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're creating a platformer sprite. We're going to go ahead and turn controls on. Whoops, I want to go to set controls on, and we're going to give it a speed of 100, which is the new default, by the way. And then we're going to give ourselves a tile map that we can use. So we'll go ahead and do a background tile and a wall tile. And I'm just basically going to be recreating the tile map that we had in the other tab. So let's see, make this height be 8, make the width be 16 is fine. And we're going to put in a floor right here. We need to have like a 2-tile thing for doing wall jumps. And then we'll just put in some, platforms to jump on and go ahead and mark our walls. There we go. What size did I make this guy? 8x8, cool. All right, so we should be able to do this now. Is this upset about something or? Okay. All right, cool. So there we go. Oh, the gravity is different in this. And also we need to do camera follow. So we'll go ahead and do camera follow sprite. And we're going to set the gravity to 1000, which is also the new default. So, whoops, that's not the right block. I want the set gravity block. Here we go. Set gravity, 1000. All right. let's see. We are now roughly equivalent to what we were before. Yep, cool. Okay. So if you've seen people use this extension in the past, you have probably seen them have wall jumps turned on because it's on by default. And you can kind of do this infinite climbing thing, right? So first things first, I have changed it so that the defaults for wall jumps are now a little bit more reasonable. When you jump, you can no longer just jump right back onto the wall you were just on. Okay, so you can't do this infinite climbing thing anymore. Now you go farther and you don't go quite as high when you do a wall jump. So that's just an immediate thing. And like I said, I made the gravity more and I made the movement speed more also. So everything is feels a little bit different. All right, back over to here. So one thing that was annoying about this is doing multiple wall jumps, right? So you want to do like jump, 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 jump. You want to like jump up there. But the thing that you kind of have to do is if you watch my D-pad over here as I do this, so we're going to jump and then I have to like keep reversing direction on the D-pad, which becomes really annoying, particularly if I up the kickoff velocity here. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to go ahead and set my sprite value for kickoff velocity. We're going to set that to be 200, which is a little bit more reasonable than what we had it at. And so now we go pretty far when we kick off like that. And there you go. So you see, when I hit the wall, I just immediately start falling. And I can't do any wall jumps because the only way I can make this work is if I press the A at the exact frame that I'm hitting the wall, or if I hold left. So you have to do this like really time-intensive switching between buttons. I encourage you to try this out if you haven't before to get an idea, because I'm trying to describe it, but it's annoying, and you'll kind of get the idea of what it is.
It's very hard to do.
Yes,
I've tried it. Yeah.
So wall jumps work a little bit differently now. So when you're sliding on a wall, so when you're in this sliding state, which is also in the other one, so before, if you jump up against a wall and you hold the button in the direction, you'll slide down, right? And that's when you know you can do a wall jump. And this is all configurable. You can configure what the friction is and also what the velocity that you like minimal hit when you're sliding down on a wall. So now you do not have to hold the button anymore. Once you're in the sliding state, you will keep sliding. So if you watch my D-pad, you'll keep sliding down. And this is a very big difference because it means that if you want to do the wall jumps now, you can see I don't have to press the D-pads at all as I'm doing this. So if you look at my D-pad, no buttons are being pressed. And I could just smoothly do these jumps up top, which is nice. That's how wall jumps should work, you know? All right. What else have we done here? So one thing that's new is you can see this little red guy jumping around. So I realized that you would probably want to use this extension to make enemies and stuff too. So there are now some new blocks in this extension, which I'm going to have to open a test project for this in order to see those. So let's click here. We're going to go to test extension. All right. So we have some new blocks. I'm probably going to reword this, but we have this force movement block. And this will basically press a button for a sprite, okay? So if you have an enemy, you want them to be moving to the left, then you can say force movement left, and that will press the left button. And then when you want them to turn, you say press force movement right, okay? It's gonna make them move back and forth. Another new block we have is jump. So this will make them jump, as you can guess. This will by default use the values you have set for jump height. But if you want, you can also specify jump height by pressing the plus. Okay, next up, more new blocks we have. So we have this set gravity enabled and set friction enabled. So one thing that people wanted to do and was stopping them from using this extension was, I remember Lucas mentioning this once, they wanted to do a dash. All right. So the idea is you're like in the air and then you press B and you dash, which I don't know if you can tell, but when I press B right now, I'm dashing. And so the dash mechanics are typically you turn off gravity you move at a higher velocity, and then you want everything to turn back on and everything to go back to normal. So you can now accomplish that using these new blocks, right? So if I wanted to do a dash, it's really easy. I'll just set gravity enabled to false. I'll set friction enabled to false. I'll set controls off. Then I'll do my dash, and then I just set these all to true again when the dash ends. So that's how you can do a dash. All right, next up. So in the extension, we have all of these different features you can turn on and off, right? We have all these values that you can go through, right? So you can set the movement speed, max jump height, movement acceleration, ground friction, air friction, wall jump height, wall to kickoff velocity, coyote time, jump grace period, wall friction, wall min velocity. All of these are things too. If you really want to get down to the weeds and tweak the platformer experience, you can mess with all of these numbers. So there are a few more of those now. So if we head back over here, we can go ahead and pull out that same block. We're going to grab this one. Yep. And in here we have, in addition to the ones from before, we now have in-air jumps and in-air jump height. So this lets you do double jumps, which you could not do before. So now you can do double jumps or triple jumps or however many jumps you want. So in this little test game, I've set it to do triple jumps. You can do 2 jumps after you're in the air. So jump, 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 jump. So there you go. You get the idea. So if you want to do your Kirby game, you can now use the platformer extension. Just set the jumps in the air to, 1 million, and you can just, puff your way away in the game. All right. What other new blocks do we have? So we added some new character animation blocks. So these are the old ones. Before we had just the same blocks that are in the character animations extension, except you'll remember that these are actually different. The conditions, these are all specific to the platformer extension. That's why we have these blocks in here as well. So over here, we have some new blocks. We have clear animations for rule and clear all animations. So this was a problem that Joey and I ran into the other day. If you want to remove the animations for your sprite temporarily or something like that, you can now do that using this clear thing. So this will just get rid of that animation rule. So, like you never added it. It's nifty. There's also some new conditions. So there is above max speed actually might be the only new one. So if you are traveling above the max speed, you can now do an animation for that as well. I don't know. Maybe you want to turn your guy into a little fireball. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Other new features. So all of this state stuff is all also tracked much more accurately than it was before. There were a lot of bugs with it. It now works way, way better. So just, trust me there. But if you ever had any problems with it, it's now much better than it was. And that's actually in our little test game. That's what's printing out up here. So you can see all the flags that are currently set. So as I'm moving around. But now if you run into any problems where it's not working, let me know, because I have tried to make sure that's working for everything. Okay, anyway. New things. Okay, so another thing that you could not do in this old extension was, say I created a character and say I want to play a noise when the character jumps. Seems like a pretty basic feature. Yeah, can't do that. There's no way. There's no event or anything like that. There's no thing for setting a sound effect or anything like that. So back over here, we now have some events. So we have this on state becomes true or becomes false. And you can go ahead and set whatever state you want to do. So if I wanted to do jump, I could say on jumping up becomes true for sprite, and then I can play a sound. If I want to make a sound when you land, then I would do on state on ground becomes true. And then I can play a thump or whatever. And so these are really flexible. This lets you do all sorts of combinations of things. So if I'm jumping up and facing left, I could do something different than the other one. I might make another block in here that's just the basic stuff, like jump, land, things like that, just to make it a little bit easier than what it currently is. But this is nice because like I said, you can do pretty much anything. And I think that pretty much covers it. So I'm going to be, I still have some testing to do. and then I will be updating the Microsoft repo on this. If you have an existing project, I would not recommend updating it inside that project. I would start a new project and then use it. I think it should be fine, but I cannot guarantee that. I have not tested it, so like don't add it to your existing project.
Yeah. Plus, if you changed all the gravity and jump height stuff.
Yeah, it's very likely it won't work quite as well as it did before, or better. So yeah, and if you have any features, anything that you still can't do with this extension, please let me know. Like I'm going to put a forum post, and I'll put a link to this video where I describe everything, so that people kind of know what's going on. And I want some more feedback before we put this into the extension list, because even though it's in a Microsoft repo, it's not in the extension list yet for two reasons. One, because I'm not sure it's ready yet, and two, because I still have not written documentation for it. So, hey, Joey, did you ever make that CLI command to make documentation pages for different stuff?
Not yet. No.
Okay, never mind. Oh, well. All right. Okay, so anyway, that's the platformer extension. I just wanted to show that off because it's what I've been working on. Let's go ahead and do a Friday stream thing now. We're just going to make, I don't know, a super quick game. So we're going to go ahead and first come up with an idea for that game. Or you know what? Should we make a new game idea generator?
Ooh.
Our old game idea generator is pretty old, so we could make a new one.
Sounds
like
fun.
Let's find that old one first. I'm sure we can find it on the forum somewhere. There we go. This was our 10th stream, and then we made a better version of it at some point. But you remember how this worked? It was it says make A, and then when you press A, it's going to be colorful, RPG, set in the jungle, featuring collect things. Right. So the idea was we have an adjective, a type of game, a setting, and then a wild card. So we could just make another one of these, which, you know, this served us well for a while. We used this for a long time. But I'm wondering if you guys have any other ideas for how we could make a game idea generator. Like what combination of things could we come up with to describe a game that would be an interesting, you know, starting point?
I mean, you could have like those. Ever seen those sort of like story idea dice? Just a bunch of random nouns, basically. You have to figure out how you're going to combine them.
Mm-hmm. Or the I Ching.
I don't know that.
The I Ching is a something from China where it was used. It's often used though by artists to do like come up with random things. Like I remember Radiohead composed a lot of their lyrics using the I Ching, and like I think Brian Eno was also very into it. Like it's basically a method for like choosing things that is essentially dice, I think, but I don't remember it. Here, let me pull up the Wikipedia article. Okay. The I Ching. So it's like 64 hexagrams that look like this. You've probably seen these before, right?
Oh,
where you have these 6 lines and they're either divided or not.
No, it's new to me.
Oh, okay. It's essentially like a form of binary, right? Except it does not work like you would think it would, given how binary works. I don't know what the mechanism is behind this. But it's often used by people, like I said, who like have some sort of like algorithmic way to translate this into lyrics. Like, so I think that one thing that Radiohead did was they put a bunch of lyrics into a bag and then they chose the lyrics to be reassembled using this. This is for the album Kid A, by the way, if you're wondering. Yeah, so anyway, that was a digression that didn't really have a point. But
It's an interesting fun fact.
yeah. Okay. So let me write down these ideas. So one of them is we want to so the first one we have is obviously Mad Libs, which is what the old one was, right? Which is we had like all these different things that we were basically fitting in. So the next one is just kind of interesting word generator, like word pairs, I guess.
Yeah. Could be 2, 3.
Yeah. Like what I'm imagining is you would have like a little feed of words, and if you press A, more would come up.
Yeah, that could work.
And then we just kind of have like this feed like going up off the screen.
Yeah.
Sarah, you got any ideas for this?
No, I keep on trying to come up with something, but it's just blank. I like dice. I like the thought of using dice. Like,
Okay.
but like I don't know how animating that would work. Like I like
Okay.
there are like those games where like I'm thinking of specifically actually the online version of Monopoly. Their animation of dice falling on the board is really well done. But like it's a really random like tidbit to have, and it's not necessary. But I throwing it out there because that's all I can contribute.
Makes it feel nice. So I think this is a bad idea, but I'm curious on your thoughts, Richard. What if we make it so you have to play it for a second first? And what I want to do is something like the Melee, Smash Bros. Melee credit scene.
You want me to implement Star Fox?
Yes. Well, you know, it could be like a 2D like spaceship shooter, but you're like shooting something, and it's random still, maybe, but it's like maybe like you see the first letter of the word, and that's the thing you're shooting, and then that becomes the idea. So you pick like, oh well, I don't know what I don't believe this Q is going to be any good, so I'm going to press this B. Anyway, that's my idea.
Sure. By the way, this is a aside to nobody but the people on stream, but the new people tab is kind of cool in StreamYards because Sarah and Joey both had mics that were kind of hot, and I just inched your volume down a little bit, and now everyone's the same volume. It's cool.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Nice.
That's too much. You've told me something that gives me too much power, Richard.
All right. Well, if you do find that I am overly loud or something, please feel free to just nudge me down a little bit. But all right. So I guess what we're doing here is we're just thinking of different mechanisms to combine words, right? And so one of them is dice. One of them is by the way, show of hands between Sarah and Thomas. Who knows what Joey is talking about?
I didn't, but I think I got the gist when he described it. Sounds like there's like words coming down and you shoot them to reveal them.
Yeah,
it's the credit scene in the game, so it's the names of the people in the game, and you're shooting those.
Thomas didn't have a GameCube, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Switch 2 will bring Smash Bros. Back for you.
But yeah, in Super Smash Bros. Melee, the end credits you get at the end of single player mode is the credits come down and you shoot lasers at them and then they turn on. And there's no point to it. It's just like a fun thing to keep you occupied while the credits are playing so that you actually sit through them.
Right. Other games have done this too, right? I feel like this isn't the only instance.
Oh, there's all sorts of stuff. So, I mean, Katamari, you can roll up the credits. Like, you know,
rules.
In Kirby, I know it turns into like a little shooter game in a lot of the Kirby Dreamland games.
I think Melee is the one I've seen referenced the most by people because it's just like such a common game to like, and you see it so many times because you know.
Melee certainly didn't come up with it though. This was done in the Super Nintendo days. I'm
okay.
certain.
Yeah, I feel
100%.
like I've seen it something like this before, but I don't think I've seen the Melee stuff.
All right. Cool. Okay. So
I thought of another thing though.
All right.
Remember that the game, the fortune game that we made with the leaves falling down?
Oh yeah.
I don't know, like possibly transforming that into just like giving you words instead of a fortune. I don't know. It's not a good idea, but
I think that's a good idea.
These are all just random. We want to make an interesting set of dice is what we're doing here, right?
I was wondering about like, I don't even know if this is possible, but picking from our asset libraries, like, oh, here's a random image, here's a random sound.
If I'm going to use this, I don't want to see any of the built-in sprites because we
I mean, you don't have to use the sprite, but you can be inspired by the sprite.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay.
If you don't want to use words, that's an option. But I don't. Can you do that? Can we programmatically pick stuff from our asset libraries?
No, we can't. We would have to make a giant array or something.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be fun. Me just clicking plus image gallery plus image gallery for like 20 minutes.
I mean, it would be faster to just write a script to go through the JRes and output that one real quick.
I don't think that would be faster on stream where I don't have a setup for all of that.
Not on stream. For one of us to go through and do that real quick with a node terminal, and then
let's not worry about that. First, let's just decide what we want to do for what our randomization thing is going to be. Okay, so with the air thing, we were basically doing a simulation, right? With the leaves dropping thing. Right, this was not in any way an accurate simulation, but we took an actual real-world thing, which was leaves falling down, and we translated that, which I don't even remember how we came to the point of doing that, but we took like that and like translated that into a fortune based off of where it landed and all of that good stuff. So we want to choose a simulation of a natural phenomena that we can do, and then we can kind of glean something from this. So basically we're thinking like the tea leaves, where we have things bouncing around, and then if everyone's not familiar with tea leaf, like fortune telling, the idea is you have a cup of tea with loose leaf tea in it. When you finish the tea, the leaves are left in the bottom of the cup, and based off the patterns that they show up in the cup, that is used to somehow glean a fortune. By the way, disclaimer, fortune telling is not real. So just putting that out there.
What?
Sorry, yeah. I didn't want you to hear about it this way, Sarah.
Dang it!
Another classic fortune telling thing is tarot cards, right? So you have a deck of cards, you pull them up and put them in a specific order, and then based off of the cards you got in an order, you kind of glean something from that. Another one that I like to mention all of the time is you throw bones into a fire, and based on the way that they crack, that is determined a fortune. Or, of course, you can take like the entrails of animals, which I've never really been clear on what they do with the entrails of animals, but I know that people used to tell fortunes using them.
They entrail the animals.
I don't even know what you were going for there, Joey.
It's a funny word. I just like to say the word.
Just wanted to say it. Yeah.
Just wanted to say the word entrails.
How many? When's the side today? When's the last time you had the opportunity to say?
I say it fairly often because I make a lot of fortune telling jokes because I think fortune telling is interesting.
Okay.
So it's not uncommon for me to talk about stuff like that, and that's why I had so many examples at the ready. Let's see. There are also tons of other things where, you go based off of the shape of something, or you look at a person's hand and the lines that are there, the creases, and you glean something from that. That's palm reading. By the way, I've never really gotten palm reading, so theoretically, if you go to a palm reader, don't they tell you the same thing every time?
Different variants of the same?
Oh. Maybe your palm changes more than you realize.
Okay. So what I think would be interesting here is we do a fortune teller simulator, hi Pimink official, where we are doing a thing, and then we give them instructions on how to interpret it.
Yeah.
All right. So we don't do it for them. They have to do it. I feel like that's kind of a fun thing to do. I
like the
Can
principle. I'm
integrate
struggling
it?
to envision it.
Yeah, like that's what I'm also thinking that. I'm like, can we maybe integrate it with the just because it's on my mind, like integrate it with the platforming thing, and it's just like, if you jump this many times, Then you need to use
No.
this word. I don't know.
That's not like a natural phenomenon thing. Like I want this to be a simulation of something in the real world, you know? It's kind of hard to. I mean, we could make the platformer sprites be like, I don't know, bugs and the number of times the bugs jump, but that's kind of weird. I don't know.
It would be. This is definitely something that we can't do in one stream. It would be very.
Oh, there's no way we're going to finish this in the remaining 24 minutes of the stream. So,
because if you had like images that you were you're randomly spreading dots across the screen, tea leaves or whatever, but you're like biasing them towards a particular image, but we don't know exactly what image it's being biased towards, and you're trying to like read the image, or 4 images on either all the different corners of the screen or something could be an
interesting. Yeah, I feel like the tea leaf one is pretty fun because you're looking at shapes of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, we could like Pimic Official says, can you guys make tacos or something next Friday stream? Probably more productive than the normal Friday stream. Guys, this is what Friday streams are, okay? I'm sorry if you are coming in watching us do code, but we're doing game idea generation right now. So I'm hoping you find something that is valuable here.
A game taco generator.
But like, so if we have the tea leaves, I feel like that could be a fun thing to do because we can use a lot of the stuff. Like we can use rotation and scaling and stuff as we move things around to try and kind of make like interesting shapes. And so, like Thomas said, we could cheat and kind of have an idea in the code's mind that we try to get them to land into. I don't actually know how we would implement that, but it would be interesting. I guess we could kind of just do it like magnetic filings or something, where we have like, they get attracted to where the pixels are set in this base image that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder, would it be worth right now looking up if there's a Wikipedia article on tea leaf reading and seeing if it has any sort of description on what the things that people look for in that are? Because I don't know anything about it, except that, it's a thing that people do. It's not true, obviously. And also it gets mentioned in Harry Potter a lot. Which is,
I say the extent of my knowledge is the little it gets talked about in Harry Potter, and that's it.
It gets talked in any British fantasy, which I read a lot of as a kid. They're always about tea leaves because I guess they like tea over there.
They do like tea.
Yeah, Thomas would know.
Got my tea right here.
Okay, so let's see. All right, we're gonna pull this up real quick, and hopefully there's nothing problematic in this Wikipedia article. But
I feel like though we could also just like, is it more problematic to like not go off of what people would look for? Because it's like, what if we just like we're trying to make our own thing,
I'm fine with that. I just want to have an idea of what it is, and we don't have to do it. I just want to know what it is that they do.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, okay, well, if we look at this right here, it looks like they have actual markings on the teacup or saucer to kind of guide you in the process. So it's just like where the things group is kind of what you're looking for, which I think that is like, at least a fairly obvious way to do it. I guess I'm actually surprised I didn't think about that until just now, what that was actually.
Do you think they always have these? Or is this like when you get game piano for the first time and you have the keys marked on them, but then after you get good at it, and then you're just like, yeah, this is what it is. This is the training wheels.
Yeah, so it says, although many people prefer a simple white cup for tea leaf reading, there are also traditions concerning the positional placement of leaves, blah, 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 blah. And some find it easier to work with marked cups. Yeah, these are the training cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's coffee reading too.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Hot water, it's just hot stuff in water is just, it knows the future. Pimic Official says, by the way, what happened to yesterday's stream? Yesterday was Thursday, but I'm guessing you meant Wednesday's stream. Yes, I apologize. I took the day off because I got invited to go see a movie screening, and I forgot to post about it on the forum. I let these people know, though.
I also forgot to post about it on the forum because usually Richard does, and I don't even think to check.
Yeah, it's my bad. It's not Joey's bad. Okay, so let's just read this thing right here. Okay, so after a cup of tea has been poured without using a tea strainer, the tea is drunk or poured away. The cup should then be shaken well, and any remaining liquid drained off into the saucer. The diviner now looks at the pattern of tea leaves in the cup and allows the imagination to play around with the shapes suggested by them. They might look like a letter, a heart shape, or a ring. These shapes are then interpreted intuitively or by means of a fairly standard system of symbolism, such as snake, enmity.
Snake.
Is it enmity?
Enmity?
It's ENNITY.
Yeah, enmity.
Enmity or falsehood. Spade, good fortune through industry, mountain, journey of hindrance, or house, change, success.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a Rorschach test kind of thing.
Yeah.
Seems like, yeah. And then perhaps they have like a lookup thing afterwards that you can kind of do, which I think that's, I feel like that's kind of interesting because we can basically have the things go and then we can press, like, if you hold B, you get a little scrolling thing of symbols that you might want to look for and like a description of what each one means that could like scroll up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of fun. And
would it be possible to make the leave art like completely random, like not from a preset?
Yeah,
like,
that's actually that's how I'm leaning.
Okay,
so we could push it so that it like actually tries to make something that looks like something, but then that kind of, I mean, it gets away from the realness, heavy air quotes, of tea leaf reading.
Yeah, I don't know if I like this deviation from the real life art that we are emulating.
Yes, which again, I cannot stress enough, is fun to learn about and stuff, but is not real. Let's see. Okay, so do we want to do tea leaves or do we want to do something else that kind of, some sort of sediment that gets settled in, right? So the idea is just something that'll be scattered around that we could look at from above.
Earlier I was thinking about, shells washing up on the beach, but I think there wouldn't be enough of them. Seems like this is a thing where you need a lot.
Yeah, I feel like you need enough to like suggest a shape.
Yeah.
It's a made up thing. It's not pixie dust. It's code dust.
Pimmick Mitchell says, Mr. Richard, if there's not going to be a live stream, can you please change the schedule thing on Twitch? I don't know how to do that. Oh, and Mr. Richard, I will also not sleep next week, so I'll be able to watch the stream. Great.
Yeah, changing the schedule thing is kind of annoying because you have to actually log in. So
I don't know how to do that. I didn't even know we had it.
You click onto the. I'll tell you after stream.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. All right. Hear me out.
But no to the code dust. I'm just.
Yeah. Let's put pixie dust aside.
From personal experience, the various debris that I am constantly dealing with being spread around is cat litter. So
okay,
could do cat litter shapes.
That is a really good one.
That is not a really good one. Let's just put anything scatological off the table. Okay,
that's a fair one.
that's
also a term that I've never actually used, but I'm not going to use it because I don't want to use it.
Is that a real word?
That is a real word that we don't need to dive into right now.
Well, I know, I figure what it means, but I just I'm kind of, I'm in awe.
Anything that we, here's the thing, and this is actually kind of fun because it's like tied into other kind of like folklore stuff. What if we did a little simulation of like mushrooms growing that you're looking at from above, and we had them kind of, just all grow up in this little fairy ring type thing that you could then interpret.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Yeah.
Not as fun as cat litter, but fun.
We can all agree that cat litter is very fun, just maybe not the best idea for this particular stream.
Yeah, fine.
I don't know
Mushrooms
about that, Richard.
I can't
We
believe you're
love
saying
cats.
that Thomas had a bad idea. That's pretty rude.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, you can just, I can picture it. Like, the cat jumps out of the litter box, like, litter scatters on the floor. You look at it, and you see what your fortune is. I think it's great.
Streamlabs how to kick off.
No!
Mushrooms is fine. Mushrooms is fine.
Can I suggest all sorts of like not just mushrooms, but all sorts of fungi?
Sure, yeah. Though I'm
Like,
actually
make it look interesting.
I'm trying to think of what'll be more fun to code though. I think it might be more fun to do things moving around, like the tea leaves, you know, than to just have things kind of like pop up and grow. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because when we do the move around, we can finally use the rotate thing that we've never really used before, and stuff, which would be cool.
Yeah. Could do like clouds, but lots
Sure.
of
I like
Yeah.
clouds.
Does anybody not like clouds? That's just a check. Any cloud haters?
Fair
in
enough, Joey.
chat?
So clouds are I like clouds, but so let's think about it. So we would want the clouds to be like moving, right?
Yeah.
So at
You
what
need,
point do you do it, you know?
Yeah, you'd need to sort of be like a cloud's made up of a lot of little white circles or something. But
Yeah, which we could do totally. The other thing is how to get definition between them, right? Because we need to have like an outline or something so that you can differentiate between the clouds. Because if we just put a bunch of white circles on the screen, I don't think it's going to read,
yeah.
you know? But I like the idea.
What if we dedicated half the color palette to grays for the clouds? You can get some nice differentiation there.
Could do that, but you don't want it to be random, right? Like we want it to be like pillow shading, basically, where it's like the edge, it gets darker or something like that.
True.
Um,
Cloud generation would be a very fun 2 or 3 streams, though.
Yeah. Programmatic, I feel like programmatically generating stuff is always fun. So we could certainly do that. Even if it doesn't end up for this specifically. We could also do the stars. I'm just looking at Thomas's background.
Yeah.
So that's another classic way to do stuff where we can make it so you can like pan around in a bunch of stars being laid out, and then you can kind of draw your own constellations or something. Like we could make it so you have a little tool and you can draw lines as you're interpreting things. Which would be fun. Oh, that's a good idea for another. Even if we don't do that today, Constellation Maker is a good idea for a stream game. Where you do a constellation, then you type in a name for it, and then it just stays there in the sky, and you can scroll around and do another one. And then we can make it so it spits out a code that other people can import if they want to look at your constellations.
Yes. Okay.
That would be fun. Yeah.
Oh man, do I want to do that now? That sounds like fun.
I want to do that now.
Um,
Wait, what if the constellations that you make are the game idea all along?
I do feel like we have just completely blown up what we were doing in the last 5 seconds, because now I really want to do that.
Yeah. I think it's a good blow up.
I don't know. Thomas and Sarah, how do you feel?
I mean, I'm down.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
All right. Okay. We're going to start doing Constellation Maker, but put the fortune teller thing on hold, because I still want to do something like that at some point. You know, we have a lot of streams in the future. We can work on all this stuff. But let's talk about how we would do Constellation Maker. So I want to make this so that you can share your constellations to other people. That's very important to me, right? So we're going to make it so that we spit out a code that's going to contain all of the constellations, all of the stars, and the names that you have given them, right?
Oh, naming them is important too. Okay, that's fine.
Naming them is important also. You need to, of course.
I mean, naming them instead of being randomly generated.
Oh yeah, no. When you draw a constellation, you're paving new ground here. You know.
Okay.
You gotta be able to name that sucker.
So does that mean the stars that are generated can never be like redone? Like if you refresh your game, it has to be the same stars in the sky, right?
We can just
Yeah.
use the fast random to generate
Okay.
those from the seed, and just one
Exactly.
number is enough to sort them all.
We're gonna use a seeded random.
So it won't be the same for every person, and you'll be able to change the galaxy, but it will be consistent.
Right.
It would be fun though if we could. I wish we had a browser unique serial number. Maybe we should do that, Joey, in the next arcade release. I want to make the serial number return a unique thing for the browser.
That would be kind of fun. Just
Because
like
then,
then we could do like a trainer ID for Pokemon and stuff like that.
Well, it's that, or like I've always wanted to make a Tamagotchi game where when you put it on arcade hardware, it's different for each person, and like you can't like yours is yours. It's tied to your console, and we would do it by just seeding the random off of the serial number for the device. So if we generated a similar serial number for your thing,
we probably want the most important thing is to store it on the account so it's consistent with your account too if you log in on multiple devices.
Yeah, that might be more feature creep for this feature than we necessarily want.
It is, but it's important.
We could include their user ID as part of the thing if we wanted, I guess. Mm-hmm. But we need to make sure that whatever we're passing here cannot be used to do malicious stuff. So it has your name or something. That's probably not a good idea. Unless people want to make games that say, "Hello, Sarah, how are you doing today?"
Do you not want to do that, Richard? I don't understand.
I would be so unsettled if I opened a random share link and it knew my name.
That's really freaky.
Do you guys know the classic example of this in Metal Gear Solid 2? Okay, so in Metal Gear Solid 2, there's a psychic character. And this blew the minds of everybody back in the day because it would look at the other games that were on your memory card and be like, I see that you like playing Castlevania and stuff like that. And everyone was like, oh my God. And what was that guy's name? It was Psycho something, I feel like.
Psycho Mantis, right?
Psycho Mantis, that's what it was. Yeah.
But Metal Gear Solid 2 had all the good ones, right? Like there was also the old guy who like is canonically like if you just leave your game on for 24 hours, the boss fight will end without you killing the sniper because he will die of old age.
Is that really what the explanation was?
Yes.
That rules!
Oh, Kojima. You always did weird stuff.
I mean, I'm like 90% sure this is going off of my memory, but that is the whole point of him dying. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want some weird video games, play some Kojima games.
I don't say this to doubt what you're saying, which could very well be true, but also that 100% sounds like the kind of lie I would have made up as a kid.
Yes.
No, but like I did that boss fight though.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But
I gotta be cool and act like I know about this game. Here's this random lie I just made up.
Yeah, and then someone posts it on Game FAQs, and then Richard is like, "Oh, if I talk to the rival outside of the Pokemon, if I talk to the rival outside the Pokemon Center in Pokemon Gold 100 times, I'll get a shiny Charizard." And then young Richard does that, and it does not happen. And you're like, "Curse you, random Game FAQ user!"
Okay. I was off by one. Metal Gear Solid 3, the boss fight is the end, and it's 1 week, not 1 day.
I see.
A week? Wow.
Yeah.
But
that is so long.
I didn't wait a week. I just fast forwarded.
Kojima is just kind of well known for doing weird stuff. Like he also has that series of Game Boy Advance games where it has a light sensor built into the cartridge. It's like a stealth game, but it also tells if it's day or night by looking at the light outside. And I assume that it could not differentiate between that and playing in like a dark room. But whenever you buy like a console that lets you play Game Boy Advance games or something like that, they always say like the one thing that does not work is Boktai games. Every game works except for Boktai games because those are the ones that have the weird light sensor in the cartridge that the hardware just doesn't know what to do with.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of time. We didn't do anything. I hope you enjoyed us just coming up with game ideas and then not actually coding anything today. Look out for that post on the platformer extension. I am going to put that up. You can check that out. On Monday, we're probably going to be back to what were we working on? Maybe we'll be starting something new. I don't know. Pimmick Official says, by the way, CCBB is cookie clicker but budget. Yeah, I've been wondering since you put that in the chat, but I did not have time to bring it up, what you meant by CCBB. So thank you for explaining that. Right, so let's see. What were we working on? Oh, we were working on our ladder tutorials. So yeah, we might be starting something new on Monday, but an actual game, not the Constellation Maker. Or maybe the Constellation Maker. I don't know. Last thing I'll mention is I'm not 100% sure, but we might not have stream on Wednesday of next week because of just personal stuff. But we should on Monday and Friday. So I will post about that one on the forum as soon as I have more info. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Richard Everett on the MakeCode forum.
I'm Joey at Jay Wonderall on the MakeCode forum.
I'm Sarah at Sarah on the MakeCode forum.
And I'm Thomas at Sparks on the MakeCode forum.
And we'll see you on Monday. Goodbye, everybody.